Hello there, this one is called The Eagle and the Worm. I find this such a helpful way to understand life, and it refers to two of my guides. It refers to Golden Eagle, who is my guide that I work with and journey with to the upper world for information, and my guide the Worm, who has so many amazing abilities it would take me ages to tell you about them. So I'm not going to. Just massive abilities to do with healing and to do with the lower world and DNA and so many other things too. So this is what I want to share with you, because these two beings, the eagle and the worm, have a way to help us to understand life, because at any moment it's possible to perceive our experiences from either of these two perspectives. So let me talk about the eagle first of all. The eagle flies very high above the earth and can see everything from a great distance. So the eagle has the perspective that you have literally from the higher self, from the heavens, looking down upon the world and being able to see the big picture. So for example, the eagle's perspective on experiences like trauma and abuse is that these are very valuable learning experiences which gives us gifts and powers through the suffering that we experience. Now the worm has completely opposite perspective. The worm is completely immersed in the earth. That's where the worm lives, moves and has its being. It's in the earth. So it's completely connected to the earthly experience, and all that we feel and see and think about. The worm is totally immersed in the present moment. So at first glance it seems like a bit of a disadvantage, because the worm doesn't have the wonderful ability to see the bigger picture like the eagle has. Oh no, it doesn't. But the worm has something equally powerful and equally important. What the worm does is the worm is completely immersed in the experience of being alive in a way that the eagle can never conceive of, because the eagle is so much at a distance from life. So what worm can do is worm can fully grasp the picture of whatever it is that we're experiencing at that moment. So in terms of something like abuse, what the worm is doing is the worm is feeling it fully and totally. It's immersed in the suffering and it's fully present to the experience. Now again, that might seem like a disadvantage to be fully immersed in an experience like suffering, and yet it's the ability to embody the worm that actually gives us the powers that we get, which we can then make use of when we can look at the bigger picture from the point of view of the eagle. So really what I'm saying to you is that when you have your experiences in life, there's a part of you more like the rational adult part that can look from a distance and understand why you're going through that. And that on its own means nothing. It only has value and power because of the power of the worm to actually feel and experience whatever it is that's going on. So we could say that it's the worm, the ability of the person to experience suffering fully, that actually gives the powers which then can be understood by the eagle. So in the case of people who experience severe trauma, if they choose to take their suffering onto the shamanic path and become a healer, it's their ability to empathize and completely relate to the horrors of being alive that actually confers the powers on that shaman to become the powerful healer who they are. Which is why when it comes to my guide the worm, there are so many things that worm can do. Absolutely huge number of things, and I guess the biggest point to make out is worm can become so small and replicate into so many hundreds of billions of nanoworms. Like literally each nanoworm can go into each cell of my body, because there are, don't forget, there's hundreds of billions, or please remember, hundreds of billions of cells in the body. So every single cell, every single DNA strand of every single cell in the body can be worked on simultaneously through the power of the worm. Eagle can't do that. Eagle can't even approach anything like that. That's an incredible ability, and that's only one of very, very many. So something else that worm can do is worm can create a bridge between distances which are so vast they're inconceivable. In other words, worm has done this, and that's how I got my universal soul retrieval healing done by my friend Paz, because what happened is worm grew to giant size, so big worm actually connected the journeying realms where we were into this completely different dimension where the lost soul part was being imprisoned. So that's the sort of powers that worms got. So the reason I'm saying that is because it's so easy for us to, and this is what I've done in my life, to look at life in the bigger picture and to understand that all human beings experiencing suffering is all a part of a marvelous bigger picture awakening of the human race into their true potential, is to be gods and goddesses in the making, which is a wonderful gift, the eagle's gift. And yet, if we didn't embody the abilities of the worm, we wouldn't get any of those gifts. They wouldn't be manifested to us. So I celebrate the eagle for the understanding and the insight and being able to see the bigger picture, and I celebrate the worm for actually experiencing whatever it is, no matter whether it's suffering, joy, whatever it is, to the fullness that the worm can feel those things. And so that brings us together as a whole, with the minute small picture of the worm and the huge big picture of the eagle. So this is relating to my new journey for my healing. So if you want to have a look at that, you'll be able to see more where this goes on to, and I will be continuing to tell you more about that journey. And this is the crucial piece of information by which everything will be understood. So I do understand that this is a film particularly for shamans and people interested in shamanic practice. Thank you very much.